Hello beauties! Welcome back to Beauty Within, where we chat all things skincare, self-care, and healthy living to find our beauty within. It's been a while since we did one of these at-home chats, so today we're going to be diving deep into our pores.
Correct, because I think pores is something that we all face, and I think we've done actually quite a few videos on different ingredients to use and products, and there's just kind of like a never-ending learning curve.
I think the one thing that's worth saying is that it's totally normal to have pores, to have them be filled, to get them extracted and have them come back. I think it's just how we go about keeping it as decongested as possible. So even though we all have pores, both Bella and I deal with very different issues. For example, for Fel, because she has more oily, acne-prone skin. What are your pores like on a daily basis?
My pores, you can definitely see them, especially just around the nose and the cheek are most visible.
Yes. And then for mine, I'm so dry and dehydrated that my pores are overcorrecting itself and producing more sebum. It's usually this butterfly area where my pores are the largest. So it doesn't matter what skin type you have, there will be something for everyone.
Do you think like your pores have changed over time?
I feel like over time it's just gotten bigger, and I've also grown more accepting of it.
That's interesting because mine went the other way. I used to have really visible sebum filled pores because I was also dealing with acne, because they kind of go hand in hand. I think over the years mine have actually gotten smaller. So I think like learning about ingredients over the last 3 to 5 years, learning about my skin, it's actually gotten way more controlled, but also the hormonal aspect of the skin volatility has also calmed down. So definitely going to be sharing with you guys both our tips, because there's something for everyone.
Before we dive into our first tip, which is weekly masking, if you guys want to learn more about the pores, what it's there for, its function, why it's needed for every single one of us, we'll link a few videos below of our older videos where we dive a lot deeper into these topics.
Yes, and make sure you watch those because it's super important to know how it actually works.
And today, let's just dive into our first point of weekly masking. So I have 2 products, Fel has 2 as well. A weekend Falili spa retreat. What does that look like?
So normally on the weekend, I'll pick either of these 2 masks, just depending on what it is that I feel like my skin likes. The Paula's choice is really instantly gratifying because 25% of the AHAs is really doing the most in order to get that surface layer off so it's smooth, right? But then because pores are filled with sebum, you want an oil-soluble ingredient like the BHA to be able to sink into the pore and really like unstick everything that's actually causing the bumps on your nose and on my cheek. It's actually really beneficial to find one that has HA and BHA, yeah. And then the Peach and Lily, which we both also really love. I remember like first using it, I had to just message her and was like, oh my god, this is amazing. My skin is bright. It's got 10% of the glycolic acid as well as 0.05 BHA. So I would say in comparison, this is the kind of softer, more gentle sister of the Paula's choice.
But it still works beautifully.
So then after you've kind of gotten all the layer of dead skin off, this is when I love to dive into like a sheet mask, or you want to dive into your hydrating steps. At home, I'll use the Foreo, and this is the UFO 2. So there was the UFO 1. It's a little bit different. It looks the same, but we also love the Luna, which is the facial cleansing device, which really like loosens up the debris within the pores so that you get a really thorough cleanse. But what this is basically you put these little sheets on, and it's a face mask. And you connect it to your phone, and there's like all these different modes. It's basically a 90-second flash facial where you can control the heat. So remember that time we went and got a facial? They steam the face while they're applying products onto your skin. So it basically starts off in the same way. It's heated, but not too hot, to kind of like loosen the skin, loosen the debris. And then after a period of time, it will start to turn cold, which is the cryotherapy. It activates kind of that vasoconstriction, which helps to brighten the skin. It helps to kind of seal back everything and tighten the skin so all your pores do look smaller. And And then it starts to pulse. And then it's slowly getting warmer. There's that lady talking to you, which actually really calms you down.
A cooling sensation instantly calms skin and locks in mattifying serum, while red LED light is added to the blue for a unique purple light treatment.
I love using the Matte Maniac one because it's got a little bit of charcoal in there to help control sebum, but then there's also like hyaluronic acid and red algae one, and this one is really great for just like injecting hydration back into the skin as that first step while giving you this like hot and cool sensation.
I feel like sheet masks are great, it could even be a daily thing. It really helps infuse the serum that's on the little pads or any of the toners or the serums that you put on beforehand to really sink into your pores and also help prep the skin for all the products that you're about to apply. It's pretty game changing.
Okay, so tell us about your masks.
So these are my two masks. You know what I found interesting? Both of your masks were gel based with AHAs and BHAs. Both of mine are clay based with AHAs and BHA. Yeah, I think because...
Isn't that funny? Because you're the one with dry
skin. Yeah, but oh my goodness. Everything's just falling
down.
I haven't been talking about the GlamGlow as much, but the reason why I love this is because it is a drying mask and it's so satisfying when you see all the oils being sucked out, because the clay turns white or it turns like a light gray color, and then your pores and your oils and all the gunk, it actually makes like little black dots on your face, and it is so satisfying. So in here there's a blend of 5 AHA as well as salicylic acid, so it really does do a lot without being stripping and drying, and the same goes for the Pureheals 65 Centella green tea pack. This is amazing, and I think like the most important thing worth pointing out is that even though you have dry skin, it doesn't mean that you can't use a clay mask. The most important thing is make sure that the clay, ideally it's kaolin clay, is paired with very soothing and hydrating ingredients. So there's 65% Centella asiatica as well as aloe and green tea leaf water, and it's just formulated really beautifully. And the thing with this mask is it doesn't really dry out as, let's say, the GlamGlow does.
And then we'll go back into the week and live our lives and need to use skincare on a daily basis, right? Which is where these topical treatments come in. So my ones that I'll focus on that really help me throughout the week are BHA and retinol. What about you?
Mine is AHAs, a little bit of BHA, and niacinamide. So this really is, it's like weekly maintenance and daily maintenance, and they're both just as important.
All right, so let's start off with BHA and why we think BHA can really help not just us, but you guys, because once again, it's oil soluble, and the way to minimize the appearance of pores is to get rid of the excess buildup of sebum in the pores, right? So the way that I like using it most is through these kind of toner treatments. So I have obviously the Paula's Choice 2% liquid, which I use as my toner, and I feel like this is the reason that not only is my acne kind of calmed down, but also everything else. So while you're treating your acne, you're actually helping with things like blackheads, whiteheads, and pores at the same time, because it's really going into the same areas, right?
So very similarly, this Peach and Lily's The Good Acids Pore Toner also has salicylic acid as well as glycolic. Because I'm not as vigilant with weekly masking, I think this has been a very good friend in my routine, and is formulated for people who even have the most sensitive skin type, so it is gentle enough for daily use. I personally don't use it daily, but you totally can, and you can even use it AM and PM.
For those of you who maybe are a bit more sensitive, or maybe you can't use BHA, there's other options. For example, the Glow recipe has a PHA and BHA toner, and I personally like using toners because I feel like it's not oily, it's very watery, and it's doing everything that you want it to do with the pores. This one has a bit of the cactus water in there as well, which is, it's got its own little like ecosystem of nutrients and hydration. It's also got aloe, and the scent and the goop makes this very unique.
Yeah.
But there's always trade-offs, right? I feel like because it's more gentle, it's not as effective as something like this, but it's deeply hydrating. Just keep in mind that like you win some, you lose some. It's not as effective, I find. It's more hydrating than anything. And then another really like my ride or die for the longest time was the Sun By Me AHA BHA PHA toner. Also, they have a serum as well, utilizing all different chemical exfoliants on the surface level, on the deeper pore level, while having a little bit of niacinamide as well to even everything out. I think that's like the best overall toner.
Next ingredient is the niacinamide. The one thing that I will say is I feel like whenever I don't properly exfoliate, the niacinamide just doesn't really work. But whenever I do exfoliate, any product or any ingredient I'd use after, it works like 10 times better. So niacinamide as an ingredient, I would say, as with most skincare, most other ingredients, it's not as instantly satisfying as I would like it to be. But I know for a fact that with prolonged use, and I'm talking about a month, 2 months, 3 months plus, you will start seeing like subtle differences in your skin. I'm having a peach and lilies moment right now. This is their Glass Skin Reminding Serum. I've been loving their mist, this toner I've been using almost like every couple of days. So the Glass Skin Refining Serum, of course, has niacinamide. There's also peach extract, which is high in a bunch of different vitamins like A, C, E, K. And there's also madecassoside, which is Centella asiatica. It's very soothing. And it is also paired with a peptide complex as well as a hyaluronic acid complex. So it's giving you that hydration that you want and need, and it's also giving you the subtly brightening and pore refining properties of niacinamide to really give you glass skin.
Okay, so the other ingredient that I think is really effective if you have oily skin, really clogged pores, and you just don't know what to do with it, and maybe even like acne, because clogged pores sometimes can lead to acne.
I'm listening.
Is actually vitamin A, so retinol. If you haven't used it before, you don't actually have to be that weary or that scared about it because there are moisturizer forms of it. So my top 3 that I would recommend for you guys is actually from Naturium. They have a retinol 2.5%, which I think is really great. Clearly Basics also has a clear out moisturizer, retinol and azelaic acid, which is really great. And then the different gel, so the adapalene. And the reason why I think it can really help to minimize pores is because vitamin A can help to regulate the sebum that's being produced. And when your sebum is regulated, it means it's not pumping as much out excessively, which then, you know, you can imagine if it's not being pumped out, there's nothing to fill. So it will kind of be a normal size. So I think vitamin A is also another really effective ingredient if you want to like control large pores. So I really love this one. We haven't talked much about Clearly Basics, but this moisturizer, it's a little bit thick, but you know, even oily skin can really enjoy this because it's non-comedogenic, and azelaic acid once again helps with evening everything out as well, controlling sebum, brightening overall, and it's designed for acne prone skin. And then this Naturium one, 2.5%, it's also got like vitamin E, antioxidants. It's more of like a smoother and lighter weight moisturizer. And then, you know, the different gel I use for my acne, but once again it also helps with decongesting pores. So it's like a double whammy. It helps you with your acne and it helps to flatten everything out so that it's nice and even. But would I use BHA and retinol together? Absolutely not. Do not do that. Pick and choose the days and you'll be good.
And if you're starting out with retinol and you don't know what to use, take it from someone like me who's in your shoes. The Ordinary has a really good squalane 2% retinol.
Yeah. Gran Active retinoid 2%. So good, right?
Yes.
Glowing skin. Ro had glowing skin.
The third tip that we'll share is this could also be a weekly maintenance. And it's a quite taboo topic. Maybe not taboo, but a little controversial. It is this friend that I have on a little marble platter right here.
The almighty extractor.
So this is the typical extractor that you'll see that is rounded and hooked on both sides. I actually never use this bigger, flatter side. I always use this little one. So the thing is with these extractors, I know we're not supposed to do them at home, or we probably shouldn't, but I found over time that these extraction tools, as well as the blackhead or like the pore strips, actually help the most if I'm looking for like instant decongesting. And before you guys are like, how could you? I will say that not all pore strips are created equal, and I'll be sharing one with you guys in a bit. A lot of the Korean ones now have a first like 2-step mask or even 3-step mask, where it's like first it's softening, especially softening like the gunk in your pores, so that when you do put on the pore strip, it's gonna come off a lot easier and the pore strip itself isn't as irritating. And then the last step is like to soothe it again. This is a word that I can never say. I just think of colloidal oatmeal and hydroquinone, but I know it's hydrocolloidal.
Hydrocolloid.
Hydrocolloid. This is a sleeping melt nose pack from Mediheal, and it's shaped in this interesting groove that allows it to fit the contours of your nose very nicely. The things with all of these nose strips is, you know how we're just talking about in a previous video that I can't really use toning pads as sheet masks, even though I really want to, because the rest of my face gets dry. Right, so it's the same thing no matter if it's with this nose pack, no matter if it's with like a regular nose strip. After I wash my face, I tone my whole face and put moisturizer on and just leave this part blank? You know, like that's always like the question of the century. So what I generally do is I wash my face, wet my nose, put the nose strip on, and then tone the rest of my face and moisturize, especially for this because it's a nighttime thing. Yeah, this one you actually put on a dry nose, you go to sleep, and then you wake up and you just peel it off, and you will kind of see oil spots, but I feel like because my nose was so congested that it didn't do as much. It wasn't like life-changing. My nose wasn't just like poreless all of a sudden. So this is one. The second one, the one I was mentioning earlier, is a Dr. Jart no blackhead nose pack, where it comes in 2 different steps. Okay, so the nose strip itself is black in color, and that it also is 30% larger than most nose strips. So that's why like I think it's the best nose strip I've ever used. It's just I got it in Korea, so I haven't been able to find it here, or I haven't looked hard enough. But after this, I'm gonna find you, because you were the best.
I'm gonna find you.
Yes.
Also, another taboo thing that we always say to not do, but I do, is when I come out of the shower or I'm washing my face, I actually get tissue paper, like wrap it around my fingers and press it against my nose and just like lightly push out the gunk that's in my nose. Do you ever do that?
I do. It's so satisfying.
Yeah, because it really is, and like it comes out and it's like really gross. It's like brownish, greenish. I don't want to share like too much TMI. So the tip is you can do it. You probably shouldn't if you don't know what you're doing, but I feel like over the years I know how much pressure I can put on my skin now. And then the second tip is to make sure it's like hygienic after you do whatever it is you're doing, and to apply a toner or a serum that will help to like seal it all up. The reason why they extract at the spa, and do we think it's worth it? I think yes and no, because there's a way to use that thing that where it won't leave scarring, which is why after an extraction at the facialist, you kind of heal over the next couple of days and then you're like glowing. And I don't think that we could do that ourselves. So if you have the means to go and do a facial, then do it, but I also don't think it's necessary. This was like a somewhat insightful look into our routines.
And I think the most important thing really is just self-acceptance and internalizing the fact that pores are normal. We started the video saying this, we want to end the video saying this as well, because I feel like for the longest time, for whatever reason, society, beauty standards, you feel like you need to look like these poreless porcelain models that you see on like 17 magazine growing up, and now like
it doesn't exist.
It's all airbrushed, right? So embracing our skin for what it is, We have texture skin, we all have pores, and it's totally okay. Accepting that, embracing that, and figuring out ways you can do weekly as well as daily maintenance is really the way to go.
Yeah. You want to see our pores? You might think we don't have pores because we actually have a little bit of like makeup on, but let me tell you, I have craters on the face and that is a-okay. We've come a long way, my friend. So anyway, if you want more tips and the lowdown on pores, we have more videos here, somewhere here. We have a whole playlist which we'll put that you can click on, and more stuff to watch here. More stuff to watch here, and we'll see you very soon. Bye bye! From our pores to yours, bye bye!